بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. So moving on now, we're moving on to the awamil of al-mudari', meaning those particles which cause the verb to be in a state. So I've edited this table slightly because the book that I was referencing, they had 26 sections, but the section which anwa'ul i'rabi wa alamatuha, it was getting too long and they didn't all fit under one heading. So I modified that and added in one more. So we have here awamilul fi'l, which particles govern the verb. So we're still discussing words individually, but we're now discussing what causes or what governs these verbs. So we have the mufrad, kalima aqsamuha, ism, mu'rab, mabni, the fa'il, types of fa'il, harf, kalam, and within the i'rab and alamat, i'rab asli, i'rab far'i, i'rab lafzi, i'rab taqdiri. Now we're going on to awamilul fi'l, those things which govern the verb. So in here we're going to have what gives fa'il mudari' rafa, what makes the fa'il mudari' marfu'. We're going to discuss what makes fa'il mudari' mansoob, and we're going to discuss what makes fa'il mudari' majzoom. Okay, you following? Yes. So faslun yurfa'ul mudari'u khaliyan min nasibin wa jazimin. So this is khaliyan. What's khaliyan becoming tarkeeb and i'rab? Hal, very good. So if fa'il mudari' is made marfu', in which state? In a state when it is free. Khaliyan means a free, you can say here free, void of. When it's free of or void of any nasib or any jazim. Correct? So if fa'il mudari' is made marfu' when it is free of any nasib or any jazim. For example, Zaydun yaqumu. Sorry, yaqumu Zaydun. Is yaqumu, is there harfun nasib before it? No. Is there harfu jazim before it? No. So therefore it's going to be what? Marfu'. So the fa'il mudari' being free or void of any amil causes it to be marfu'. That's a simple one, done. Next is mansoob. So there are four nasib, four particles which causes the following fa'il mudari' to be mansoob. What are they? Lan, kay, idhan, and an. Normally we learn it as an, lan, kay, idhan, but the reason he puts an at the end because an is very long. There's a very long discussion on an. So we're going to go from the easiest to the more detailed. So lan is very easy. Lan means not. So use a Quranic example. Lan nabraha. So lan nabraha. We will continue. So bariha, to remain, and lan nabraha. So lan, what is lan? What kind of word is lan? It's a harf. What does it do? Harfun nasib. It makes the verb after it mansoob. And how is the fa'il mudari's i'rab manifested? Using a fatha. So this is lan is a nasib, and the word after is mansoob, and the alamatul nasab is what? Fatha. Understood? Okay. After that we have kay al-masdariyah. Meaning what's kay al-masdariyah? Now he's mentioned a few rules regarding kay al-masdariyah and the sharh, but I don't think they're too important for our level, so we're not going to discuss that. And there's no really significance in Quranic verses, etc. So we leave that for now. So basically kay means so that. So kay means so that. So kay means so that. So kay masdariyah means so that. So likay la ta'saw. Likay la ta'saw. So we have here kay, so that. And because it's negative, so that you do not regret. Likay la ta'saw. So ta'saw, you become sad or grieve. So you do not become sad or grieved. So kay al-masdariyah, meaning, and it's a harf masdar. What does that mean? That kay, we do i'rab, kay is harfu masdar. Kay yaf'ala, the word after is mansoob and has a masdar meaning, and it takes a slot fi mahalli nasbin or raf'in or whatever, depending on the context of the sentence. Does that make sense? So what does kay do? It's a harfu nasib. It makes the word after it mansoob. So because this is nasib, the noon is dropped. Sukutun noon or hazfun noon is alamatun nasab. Understood? Everybody following so far? Yes? So that. So we've done two particles so far. Lan and kay. Everybody following? Muhammad, Abdurrahman, Abdullah. Yes? The next particle is idhan. So idhan means so that. What does it mean? So that. So idhan means what? So that. But idhan has a few conditions. So now he's going on to a bit more complex. Idhan has a few conditions for it to make. So lan always makes mansub. The verb after lan, fa'il mudari, is always mansub. The verb after kay is going to be mansub. The word after idhan is a bit of detail. Now he's discussing that. He says here, musaddaratan. This is again the hal. So idhan musaddaratan. So the nasib, so wayunsabu bilan, a fa'il mudari is made mansub because of lan. A fa'il mudari is made mansub because of kay. And a fa'ilun mudari is made mudari because of idhan, when the idhan is musaddara. When the idhan is musaddara. And what's the hal? This is the hal. When the fa'il mudari is this mustaqbil muttasil or munfasil bi qasam. Okay, got it so far? What does musaddara mean? So idhan, when the idhan is musaddara. So this is the hal of the mudari. And musaddara is the hal of what? Idhan. Is the hal of idhan. Understood? You follow it? So idhan, which is musaddara. So when you say saddara, it means to qaddama. If I say, for example, saddara fulanan, saddartu fulanan, I place somebody at the front. I qaddamahu. And let's say, for example, there's a gathering. There's one main seat, one main host, or one administrator of the speech or the debate or the conference. That's called the sadrul majlis. So if you say, for example, saddartuhu, I made him sit at the forefront. So musaddara then means what? Which has been brought at the uttermost front. It's musaddara. So ism maf'ul, which has been brought to the front. Front of what? The front of the sentence. So only if the idhan is at the beginning of the sentence, it can make the word after it mansub. Therefore, if idhan is not at the beginning of the sentence, it will not be mansub. And idhan means in that case. So let's say, for example, if you say, for example, Abdullah is working very hard. So I will say, in that case, he'll be successful, inshallah. If I say, huwa idhan yafuz. Faza yafuzu means to be faiz, to be successful. Correct. How would I read the i'rab on yafuz? Will this idhan make the word after it mansub? Why not? It's not musaddara. If I said idhan, if I said, for example, Abdurrahman is working very hard, I say idhan yafu. What would it be here now? What would it be? Why? Because idhan is musaddara. Idhan comes at the beginning of a sentence. So one condition is in idhan itself. If the idhan itself is musaddara, it comes at the beginning, then this will do amal. You got it? The second one is وَهُوَ مُسْتَقْبِل or mustaqbil. It is the fa'il mudari is in a future tense meaning. So if the fa'il mudari, because how many tenses does fa'il mudari have? Fa'il mudari, what tense can it be? Which two? No, the fa'il mudari. Which tense does fa'il mudari itself show? حال المستقبل. So if فعل مضارع can show the tense of present or future. Okay? Yes? If the فعل مضارع is present tense meaning, it will not do amal. It has to be مستقبل. It can't be حال meaning. So if you say, for example, In that case, you're speaking the truth. If I say, for example, إِذَن تَصْدُقُ, if you say that, you are speaking the truth. So this is musaddara. But if I mean tasduqu, meaning you are speaking the truth right now, what would the haraka, what state will tasduqu be in? Why is it marfu'? It's not referring to mustaqbil. So if the context shows us that the fa'il mudari is not mustaqbil, the fa'il mudari is in which state? Which state is it in? Is in hal. It's showing us the present tense. Then we will say it will not do amal. So one condition so far is regarding the idhan itself. The idhan itself must be musaddara. Secondly, the fa'il mudari must be mustaqbil. The third is, you have these two. Idhan and the mudari. How do they come? Do they come muttasil or munfasil? What does muttasil mean? What does attach? And munfasil bi qasamin mean? No, bi qasam. What's qasam mean? Qasam. An oath. So if idhan and the mudari are attached, they're muttasil. Or if idhan and mudari, they're separated, but between that there's a space. And what comes in between? A qasam comes in between. In these two cases, yansib, the idhan will cause nasab. But if between the fa'il mudari and the idhan there's something else apart from a qasam, then it will not do amal. Okay? Okay, so for example, look. So we give muttasil examples already, right? We know that one, right? If I say, for example, he give example. Idhan wallahi narmiyahum. See this example here? This is a poetry. He's giving example. So idhan. Now, don't worry about this wow. We leave this wow for now, okay? Idhan. Is there any main word apart from idha and fa before idhan? Is there any word, main word before idhan? Yes or no? No. So what is it called? Idhan, is it musaddara or not musaddara? It's musaddara. So idhan is perfect. Now between idhan and the word after it, there's a fasila. That means this is what? Munfasil. Okay? But what kind of fasila is this? What kind of word is wallahi? It's a qasam, an oath by Allah. So because the oath, that is a qasam, you are allowed to have, it still does amal. So therefore it's narmiyahum, it's mansub. But if there's a space apart from qasam, then it will not do la yansib. So if for example we say idhan ana aqum. In that case I will stand. Now between the idhan is musaddara, isn't it? But it is also munfasil. It's a fasila, it's munfasil. Because it's munfasil, this become aqu, what? Aqumu. Idhan ana aqumu. In that case I will stand. You see what's happening here? There's a fasila, and that fasila is ghayrul qasam. But in this case, it's permissible because the fasila is only a qasam. So regarding the fa'al mudari, so there's one condition regarding the idhan. What's the condition of the fa'al of the idhan itself? It must be musaddara. What does musaddara mean? It comes right at the beginning of the sentence. What's the condition of the fa'al mudari on its own? It must be in which tense? No. So what I'm doing here, I'm breaking down. There's three conditions. One condition is regarding idhan itself. One condition is regarding the mudari itself. And one condition is regarding the position of the two of them together. So the condition of idhan on its own is that what? It should be what? What should idhan be? Musaddara. The fa'al mudari, what tense should it be in? Mustaqbil. And the mudari and idhan, they should be what? Together? Muttasil. If they are munfasil, then one condition of munfasil is allowed. What is that? If the qasam is the one causing the fasila. So in this case then, we are what? We are allowed to, look, if it's not these conditions, not ma, if then is not musaddara, or if the verb is not mustaqbil, or if there's a fasila, which is not a qasam, then idhan will not do amal. You following? You got it? You can't have harfun jar before idhan. But you think in the right line, but you can't have harfun jar. What can happen now? A very, 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 very important masala, which is not mentioned in the books of Nahw. I kind of find it very easily, but it's very important because it comes in the Quran. The rule is, if idhan is preceded by a waw or a fa, a harf al-atf, is that still counted as musaddara or not? There's no ism before it, there's no other main word before it, but is the waw and fa, does that affect the tasdir, the musaddara, the being musaddara of idhan or not? So what we say here, إِذَا سُبِقَتْ بِوَاوٍ أَوْ فَاءٍ. If before the idhan, what is there? What do we have before the idhan? A waw or a? What do we have? A waw or a? Fa. Jazal wajhan. Both faces, meaning both ways. What literally face means both methods are permissible. What are the two ways of doing idhan? One way is that the word after is mansoob, and the other way is that the word after is what? Not mansoob, meaning it's going to be? What's the default state? Marfu'. So jazal wajhan. Both ways. You can make it mansoob or you can leave it marfu'. Wal ihmal. Ihmal is the opposite of i'mal. So a'mala yu'milu i'malan means what? To make amil. Ahmala yuhmilu ihmalan, to make non-amil. Do you understand? So the wal ihmalu huwa al-ghalib. If you have fa or you have waw before idhan, then majority of the times, the majority, even the Quran is like this. We don't make it mansoob after that idhan. So what's happened here? Explain this. Oh, one more point is that idhan is written like this. Yes? It can also be written like this. Yes? And some scholars have said, you write it like this when it's amil, when it governs, when it makes it what? Makes the verb what? Mansoob. And you write it like this when it's muhmal, meaning it doesn't govern, it's non-governing. Some have suggested this, it's not like a unanimous opinion. And the word after is marfu'. So we can tell this is really idhan, this is not an idhan, this is like a bit different. So that's how some have said it. So you can write it like this. And in the Quran it's written as idhan. So explain to me the application here. فَإِذَنْ لَا يُؤْتُونَ النَّاسَ نَقِيرًا. What's happening here? Idhan is what really? So what's after idhan? Harfu nafyin la. And what's yu'tuna? Fa'il mudari. So because idhan is preceded by what? Fa. So there's two possibilities. Jaz al wajhan. You can make it mansoob and you can make it marfu'. In the Quran, how does it come? Marfu'. The idhan does not govern, does do amal, because it is preceded by فَإِذَنْ لَا يُؤْتُونَ النَّاسَ نَقِيرًا. Another example, وَإِذَنْ لَا يَلْبَثُونَ خِلَافَكَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Explain to me what's happening here now. What is idhan on its own? What kind of word is it? A word which causes the word to be mansoob. Yes, it's a Nāsib. Correct? Everybody following? The word after is what? What kind of word is this? Fa'il? What state is it in? It's in a marfu' state. Yes? But because the idhan is preceded by what? What do you do now? You have a choice. And what's the Quranic style? Ihmal, meaning marfu', meaning you don't make it amil. Understood? Yes? So the text is what? If you go back to the beginning, let's read the text again. What he said so far. He said, وَيُنْصَبُ if فعل مضارع is made mansoob because of lan. For example, lan nabraha. We will continue to. He's going to part of the Quranic example. وَبِكَيْ الْمَصْدَرِيَّةِ and it is also made mansoob because of kay al-masdariyah. For example, لِكَيْ لَا تَعْسَوْ. So instead of being ta'sawna, hadfun noon occurs and it becomes mansoob. And it is also made mansoob with idhan, which comes at the beginning in a state that the fa'al mudari is mustaqbil, which is muttasil, which is joined to the idhan or separated by a qasam. For example, idhan ukrimaka. So idhan is musaddara, comes right at the beginning. Ukrimaka is muttasil with the idhan, therefore ukrimaka is mansoob. Idhan, now wa idhan, you can do this two ways. Wa idhan wallahi narmihim, because of the wow. But the poet, he has used it as mansoob because wow is there. And then wa idhan is there. And the narmiyahum is a fa'al mudari. The fa'al mudari is munfasil. But the fasal is what? Qasam. So therefore, despite the fasal, we have narmiyahum. So in that case, idhan means, in that case, by Allah, we will attack them or throw at them a war. Meaning we will wage a war with them. So in that case, we will throw a war at them or wage a war with them. And the last very important point to remember is that if there's a waw or fa before it, we can read it both ways. We can read it with a rafa or we can read it with a nasab. And the Quran has read it, the Quranic qira'ah that we have is a marfu state. That's why you have فَإِذَنْ لَا يُؤْتُونَ وَإِذَنْ لَا يَلْبَثُونَ. Understood? Yes? And the next one we're going to discuss is an. Okay, we're going to discuss an. And in an, there's a few rules regarding an which are very important. It's very detailed, inshallah. Okay, so we stop here. And let's do this first part. And the fourth part is an. So an a masdariyah, because sometimes you get different types of an, like an tafsiriyah. When it's discussed tafsiriyah, you'll know. But if an comes before mudari, it's going to be a masdariyah. Okay? So an masdariyah, what's the hal of an masdariyah? This is the na, this is the hal. When it is apparent. So when you can actually see the an masdariyah, it makes the word after it mansoob. An yaghfira li. I hope that he will forgive my sins. So yaghfira is mansoob. So we covered the basics. We studied lan, we studied kay, we studied idhan, and we just touched the iceberg of an. So when you have a lan, the verb after is mansoob. When you have kay masdariyah, the verb after is mansoob. When you have the word idhan, provided it is musaddara, the fa'al mudari itself is mustaqbil, and there is no fasila, or the fasila is only a qasam. In that case, that would also make the word after it mansoob. And if an is masdariyah, and the word after, and the an is actually in the text, then the word after will also be mansoob. If the an is not zahira, then there's a whole set of rulings regarding that. Understood? Yes, but the an masdariyah has a very long discussion. Because one is zahira, one is muqaddara. Where is it hidden? So there are many places where it's hidden. So this is the last nasib, but the last nasib has a lot of discussion. And then after nasib, there is jazim. Are you following? Okay. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.